Hello, my name is Liliana, and I am a junior UI artist at King.
I'm Adam Knight. I'm a technical artist at D3T. I have been there coming up 3 years now in 3 months or so, something like that. Yeah. Before that, I was a 3D artist at AO.com. So not always been in tech art. And before that, I used to freelance. And then before that, I was at uni.
So I'm Dan Hutchinson. I'm currently a senior environment artist at D3T in Runcorn. My role kind of generally entails a mix of assets being made, so it kind of differs on which project we're on. As D3T's co-development, I don't really have a specific kind of go-to in terms of what I make. So I may make vehicles, I may make machinery. I've had a go at trees and leaves and bushes before now. So it is quite varied, but just general asset work that kind of makes up an environment as a whole would probably be where my role gets covered.
My day-to-day is very, like, I guess in a way, like you might describe it as like haphazard. So it can be very much like maybe one day you're programming, or like 1 hour you're programming even, and then the next hour you have to open up the engine and deal with that, or you're inspecting models inside Maya or textures in like Photoshop or Substance or whatever it is that you're using. So it's very much here, there, and everywhere, which is what I like about it. I like to be very involved. I'm very much like a roll your sleeves up and get stuck in kind of guy. And like, if you really want to get into the meat of what a game is, then like, I think like technical artists definitely get to see a lot of how the sausage is made, you know? Like, beyond that, and like, this is the one thing that I would say is like, if you want to be a tech artist, you have to speak to people a lot. Like, half of my job is just speaking to people, you know, like to no end. Like, I'd just be speaking to like programmers all the time, or like artists, and saying like, what's wrong with this? What are you seeing that I'm not?
I like the way that we can be creative while still following rules, because that creates a lot of problem solving. There's a lot of problem solving involved. But also, I like the fact that UI tackles so many things. You know, in one day, I could be doing sketches and I'm just drawing all day for sets of icons or something, whilst another day I could be implementing, which personally, I quite like that technical side of it too, because then again, it comes with so much problem solving. If you have bugs, you need to figure out how to make them work. If you have a really cool idea and you have no idea how to even implement it, because maybe it works in your head, but then you're like, oh, how am I gonna make the game engine work with this? And so yeah, there's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of collaboration as well with the different crafts. We work so closely with game designers and user experience. We work so close with devs, the other artists. There's constant communication between all of these crafts. We can work on animations like effects, for example. That's really cool. Yeah, there's just so much to it. That might not come to mind normally, because normally when people think of UI, they think of like buttons and things like that. But there's like so much to it, and that makes it really exciting for me, because there's like basically my days are so different, especially as the project progresses. So it's never really the same.
Your job as a technical artist is very much about speaking to people. Ultimately, that's it, you know, like speaking to people, programming, art, inspecting, you know, developing systems, pipelines, the whole kit and caboodle. Like, you get to do a lot as a technical artist, and that's what I love about the job.
I mean, I genuinely just enjoy doing it, so that's like an easy answer. But if we kind of go more into it, I think, especially that I found at D3T, it's like the variety in terms of the amount of stuff I've been able to do over the last 6 years has just been so kind of, there's always something new that's just been like oh, I've not done that before, I'm looking forward to getting stuck in. Oh, I really like that, and now I get to do it. So I just get to kind of just really pace that out for a year and just kind of deep dive into the stuff that you do love, and also kind of dip your toe and get more familiar with the stuff that you're not as experienced with, but by the end of it, you'll come out of it with such a clearer understanding and capability for it as well.
So the first thing I found, especially while I was looking for a job and I was working on my portfolio, was that, it's like I was saying, I had done so much work in, being like a character artist or like an environment artist. I was doing all of these things from my work in uni. And then I was looking for a company like King. And when I was trying to create the UI mobile game projects from my portfolio, I felt that I was adding so much detail to everything that I was doing, just because that was the personal style that I had created along the way. And whilst talking to everyone at King, when I had the chance to go meet them during those events, the life drawing events, they told me that they pointed that out. They pointed out that I was adding a lot of detail to everything that I was doing. If this is added to a mobile game, it will be so small that you won't even see it, or if anything, it will just create noise. So then I had to take a step back and assess my own personal style and think, how can I adjust for this company that I really want to work for?
I was at a point early on where it was like, oh well, I'll just do everything that I know and just put it all into it. And then obviously as you learn over time, it's kind of like, don't need to do as much of that, or I can just tone that down, or I can just do as much as necessary rather than going all the way.
I would say like the headlining act to that, and it's something that I don't think's initially apparent, but is incredibly important, is what kind of a tech artist you are. And like this is incredibly important for when you're applying for jobs, because you might be applying for tech art roles, and if you're like just trying to scattershot it, then you're going to be having some hard luck, because like what a tech artist isn't always the same thing, at least not to every company. And like when I was searching for a job, I saw so many tech artist jobs that were incredibly VFX focused, or they were very much like hard programming focused. And like that's not my skill set. I can't do absolutely everything, and if I could, I wouldn't be able to do it all incredibly well. So like, what are the things that I'm going to focus on that I want to do long term, that are going to get me the job that I want?
I think the biggest hurdle at the start for getting in is building up that portfolio, and kind of, you're kind of looking at it as like, I'm trying my best, I hope it's good enough, and you're sending it out to people, and you will get rejections, but eventually you will get the role as well. The number one thing that I say to like any students and stuff like that when they ask, and it kind of makes me feel like a broken record, but it is that the portfolio is ridiculously important. It's just like everything that's going to be required of you in that job, you're able to prove with your portfolio. You can prove, right, I've got an eye for what makes a good looking asset, and I can texture it and model it appropriately by not going too far and kind of being considerate about how I make it and stuff like that. So that's the number one thing that's going to make you like shine through.
I spoke to my like old professors and stuff, and like they've told me as well, like the biggest problem with people not getting a job is not continuing to work after they leave education. And like that's it. You can't rest on your laurels of like, I have a degree with art or like tech art or things like that. Like you have to go the extra mile.
Don't stop trying, keep going, you will get there. The longer it takes you to get there, the more you're kind of building up your skills to prepare you for when you actually get there anyway. And then as soon as you get in, the payoff will come with the kind of experience that you'll learn even in those first 6 months of the job.
Put yourself in a position where you can be there at all times, because the more you are in people's eyesight, the more you talk to them, the more you're in people's brains, and they will remember you, and they're like, oh, I spoke to this person, oh, maybe I should have a look. And that's how you that's how you kind of be everywhere. And I feel like people always say be at the right place at the right time, but if you're nowhere, like you will never be at the right place at the right time if you don't go anywhere, if you don't talk to people. So you have to actually put yourself out there and push yourself to be in those situations.